Welcome back to Dirt Nap Ballistics. Today we're down in South Texas, kicking off Doe-Palooza weekend. We're at Buddy's lease, harvesting does, trying to punch those tags, clear things out, limit activity as they get towards the rut, and let them target those bucks that they're hoping to get after. So we are in the blind right now. We have a couple does in the Sendero, so we're gonna get it set up, take one of these does, check her out, make sure she's solo doe, no twins, get a good range on her, get a good rest, build position, and see what happens. Okay, so those are the does that we're looking at. So those does are about 370. They look like pretty good size does. Okay, so those deer, we'll re-range them. $397. So we're gonna go to 1.6. And then get comfortable. So zoomed in from 0 in the rifle. I have not changed the 0 since we've done the powder charge testing and all that stuff. So we're still zeroed for the 175s. All right, so we have a pretty good rest. We're ready. They're kind of stacked up right now, as you'll see on camera. So we just need her to destack. And all three of them are just lined up in a row. Also, since we're Dirt Nap Ballistics, I feel like I should have a Arnold Schwarzenegger type line, if y'all remember, like True Lies and Commando and all that stuff. You know, before I pull the trigger, I should say like Sleep Tight, something like that. But in terms of shot placement, we're gonna go for high shoulder. So we're basically gonna draw it up her front leg, and then put it about mid-body. Hopefully that should anchor her. Has some deer in the Sendero behind us. But we're already set up on these, so we'll just make it happen. Got a little spike behind him, so make sure I don't shoot him. I'm also going to shoot the doe on the right. She looks a little bit bigger bodied. 3 deer behind us. That doe on the right will just not get out of that brush. Right up that leg, here we go. So that was a really bad shot. Not sure what happened. Hit her way far back. That is not good. Hit her, but man, that was so far back. So I'm not exactly sure what'll happen on that. We had a slight wind out of the east, maybe about 4 miles an hour, but we were shooting to the west, so it shouldn't really affected our windage on that. Obviously our elevation dope was good, but it looked like it hit her back in the guts. Her back legs kind of came up for a second, but then she was able to take off, but we have a good aim point on her. So we'll just kind of hang out here for a while, give it some time, then we'll go out there, try to find the spot and do a little bit of tracking. But unfortunately, we weren't able to put her down. So first shot on camera is a gut shot. So yay me. Felt comfortable at that distance. Felt like I had a good solid rest. I just my zero is now coming into question of, you know, do I need to check that? But figured we were fine. But all the 180 ELDs were, or sorry, 180 VLDs were hitting to the right. So maybe zero's gotten bumped to the right a little bit or something, but someone else just shot. But did not hear the bang whoomp that I was hoping to hear. So we shall see. Here at 3:30. 3:28. Let's get the ballistics out and see what it's going to be. So I just texted my buddy. They both look pretty young, and I'm pretty sure one's a button buck. So we're going to hold off on those two. Yeah, they're too small, too young. Nothing to shoot there. So we'll see if anything else comes in closer than 500 yards. But for now, we'll hold off. All right, got a coyote at 281. See if we can get this done. .8. He's gone. Damn it. Oh well. I get range finding binoculars now. That'd be very nice to have, as opposed to do a 3-system check of binoculars to rangefinder to ballistics app. Well, only 2 deer came out from that same area. We shot that one, so hopefully she's lined that up in there. We shall see. We are 390 from the blind, so we're going to start looking along this right side for any signs of kind of disruption, quick turn and run, kind of like what we're seeing maybe in here. We're just going to move down another 15-20 yards, try to see if there's any disruptions along the way, and then from there we'll start tracking into the brush. All right, so I'm assuming that these hoof prints right here, kind of that big dirt move, was from the impact, and then they kind of started running out back past this way. So we're gonna get in that brush, start kind of trailing back that way, see if we can pick up some blood, moving slow, and see what we can find. I mean, I think this is where I gave her a tummy ache, so hopefully we can recover. Was just checking the area again, and yeah, definitely where we shot her. We got another little bit right there. So this was her. We'll move off that way, see how it goes. Well, okay, so started the blood trail here. We knew she went back and left, so went back this way. You can see some kind of heavy footprints running through here. There's a lot of red tinged leaves,
which makes it kind of hard to track. So got here, doesn't look like there's anything going that way. So we look this way, and lo and behold, who do we see? There she is. So, I mean, we're talking 10 yards. Okay, I'm gonna go grab that doe, and then we'll see where we hit her. Well, if you can see, we put it right where she needed to be. So, good shot. Don't know what all happened. So I flipped her around so the exit wound and try to clear off some of the blood from her. But I mean, classic saying, she didn't go 20. Hit her a little bit low from where I was aiming, and you know, an inch or two back at 400. Ultimately, it was a good, effective shot. That's the nice thing about that high shoulder, is that you know you're going to hit the vitals, you're going to be in that money zone. Was pretty surprised that she reacted the way she did. I mean, those legs kind of kipped up real quick, and then she turned and bolted. Definitely thought I hit her, you know, back here and just jerked the trigger shot somehow. Felt like I had a good solid rest. Obviously I did, but who knows. But I mean, as I've talked about before, the 175s, they perform pretty well. You know, it's a, I mean, I can stick my thumb through the entry wound on her. So good devastating effects. We'll clean her, get to look at the internals, the heart and lungs, see how she is looking on the inside, and maybe this evening, depending on the range. So if they're closer in, you know, 250 yards or so, I'll use the 180 Bergers. But anything out past that distance, just because we haven't trued up velocity and drop at distance, I'm not really trying to push out and dial too much. So we got one doe on the ground, good successful morning. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the day. Wasn't able to get on that coyote during the hunt, which is unfortunate. I know that they've been seeing a lot. I think they shot 2 or 3 coyotes last night, plus a bobcat. I know my buddy has a coyote down alongside his doe. So it's a productive weekend so far. So we got one doe on the ground. We'll see what happens through the remainder of the hunt, and come back in the evening. Not sure exactly what it's gonna look like, but we got a coyote down this narrow. We're gonna see if we can get a shot. All right. Talk about efficiency right now. We're being not so efficient. All right. He's facing dead away from us. Well, the doe and fawn, or the buck fawn, and that doe moved out the way. Kind of seems like it might have been a hit, but we'll check it out. No dice on that coyote. Couldn't find out any blood, hair, anything like that. So we'll head back, go pick up that deer, and then go help a buddy try to track down one more doe. After loading up my doe from the morning hunt, we headed off to help my buddy look for his doe. Unfortunately, he hit her a little back. We were able to come across a few larger blood piles, but as we progressed for the next 20 or 30 minutes with about 6 to 7 guys looking, the blood patterns slowly dwindled, and eventually we called off the search and were not able to recover that doe. Back at camp though, it was a productive morning. We had 4 does down, 3 coyotes, a handful of pigs. So we went to work cleaning up the does, getting the meat on ice, and filling out tags, having a little lunch, and then I took a little siesta before heading out for the evening hunt. Evening 1, sit number 2. We are at the pipeline blind this time. A little bit smaller of a blind overall, so we won't be able to capture the shot itself, but we'll record it and try to talk through what was going on. Hopefully we will anchor the doe wherever she's at. We have the Berger VLD 180 loaded up. Hopefully we'll see something within 250. If not, we will just eject that and take a 175 ELD-X and shoot that doe. We've been told to take 2 does if they pop out, so as soon as the doe pops out this morning, assuming that it's an older, more mature doe, we will take that shot and see if we can get 2 down this evening. After sitting there for a while, handful moved out at around 450 yards, but they were all covered up with twins. A great sign for the fawn crop, but since we were not targeting any does with twins, they were off limits. Had a doe step out pretty close, so she's close enough we can get her on camera, so we're gonna get up and set up and get her shot with the Berger. Okay, we got the Berger loaded up. Oh, we're gonna turn your turrets back to 0. Thankfully I checked. Eventually a solo doe walked out, and after looking at her for a little bit through binoculars, she looked a little bit young, so sent a video to my buddy just saying, hey, have a solo doe, really only seeing does with twins out there, so kind of the only option at the moment. What's your opinion? Do you think she's too small? Any concerns in harvesting her, or should we just kind of wait for something else to happen? I wish she would turn broadside so we can see how big she actually is. So I'm feeling like she's small. Alright, so we're texting my buddy trying to see if he wants us to take this younger doe. Eventually he gave me the green light, and she had moved from about 90 yards where she popped out to maybe 150 or so where she was at that point in time. Given that it was in the range of where I was hoping to shoot with the 180 VLDs, I figured this would be a great opportunity to test the performance of that bullet on live game. All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. Oh shit, that's a big ass buck. It's almost the end of the first evening sit. We have a handful of does coming down the scenario again, so we might see if we want to take another one. We saw a good buck come through this scenario. There's currently a little spike on it, and then we've had 2 bucks out here. I was hoping that good buck would come back out and get some photos and video of him, but it looks like he stayed in the brush. But we're gonna text my buddy, see if he wants us to take another shot at one of those does before they head out, and end the night with that. We won't take a video of it because it's getting a little dark, but we'll see what he wants. We are set up and ready. We're about to take the shot on the doe. It should be a similar large yardage to the VLDs, so it should be a good comparison of how they perform. Once she turns broadside and gets separated from the other does, we're going to take that shot.
not gonna be on camera, but we'll catch up later.
Eventually they kind of got in that same range of about 120 to 150 yards from us. So I got set up, took the 175 ELD-X's and took the shot on this doe. It felt like a great shot, but unfortunately she ran off into the brush. After my buddy arrived in the truck, went down to the spot where we thought I had shot her, looked for a minute, found the initial spot, found some good blood and sign around where she was shot, and went into the brush to look. And this deer might have only ran about 50 yards as the crow flies, but she ran through about every mesquite and cactus bush that she could get through. It was a pretty horrible track. If you're familiar with the brush country down there, everything wants to poke and stick you. So it was pretty miserable walking through that brush to get her. Ended up probably walking about 120 yards with her to get her out, just because trying to sneak through the trees and the brush and not walk through every cactus and tree on the way out. We were able to get her out, and it was pretty interesting. She had a much more solid blood trail, but a pretty similar exit wound to the doe that I harvested that morning. The next photos might be a little bit graphic. We'll try to edit them down to remove the saturation for the blood, but just kind of showing the exit wounds between the two bullets. So we'll first put up the 175 ELD-X's. Both of these bullets left maybe about a 2.5 inch exit wound from the deer. Again, that first deer, not a lot of sign. We had the point of shot where the deer was hit, but really limited blood going from that point. But she only piled up maybe 10, 15 yards away from where she had been shot. The evening doe, she had a lot of sign on impact and a great blood trail through the brush, allowing us to find her very easily. The 180 VLDs, on the other hand, a much smaller doe, but a significantly larger exit wound on this deer. I mean, we're talking 5+ inches of exit wound. She dropped in the spots, there was no tracking. Smaller deer, so not necessarily apples to apples, but in terms of distance, those two shots from the evening were about the same distance overall. So we can compare that, although the body sizes of the doe were pretty different. The younger doe is maybe 2.5. The older doe is probably 4.5 or older. A good full-size mature doe.
Well, this doe led us on a hell of a track. She went straight through the brush. 0 turns, 0 changes. Appreciate Brandon helping on that track, but we got good blood. She just didn't want to die.
So when we got back to camp, we arrived a little bit later than everybody, given that we had to track the deer and try to get her out of all that brush. So a couple people already were getting after their deer, cleaning those up, and waited our turn, got those skinned up, and then hit the fire, enjoyed some camaraderie with the guys around there, cooked up some steaks, and ate a great dinner before settling in around the fire before some nighttime activities. The first thing we did was try to get a spotlight out, check the gut pile and see if there was any activity on it. There was a coyote, and so not film, but I was able to get a good shot on it, hear the impact. He started yelping and we could see him kind of spinning. So we were able to knock another coyote off the property there. We also went out and tried to shoot some rabbits on the way to a pig. So one of the guys on the lease has a remote access trap, and we were looking at the camera and there was a big boar in there. And so he dropped the gates. And so we went over to see that pig, and I haven't seen a ton of big boars in my experience. And that was definitely a big pig. One of the guys had wanted to shoot a pig with his revolver. And so we brought that out, and he was able to put a couple in the pig before the pig ended up settling down. He took some photos with it, and eventually we loaded them up, 4 guys to get him in the back of the truck, but we got him up there, and that ended up our evening activities. That next morning, I sat in a stand with my buddy, enjoying the cold front that kind of rolled in overnight. Brought some rain, not a lot, but any rain is a blessing out there. It's been pretty dry, and just kind of see what activity we would go. It wasn't too far from the pipeline blind where we had sat the evening before, and ended up seeing a couple bucks that I believe were the same ones that we saw out in that area. After watching those bucks for a while, we ended up seeing a really nice, mature South Texas 10, and we were able to watch, take some photos of him, which was a great experience that morning. Eventually that buck and the other deer spooked off, and so Buddy got some predator calls, see if we could knock another coyote off. But but nothing came into the calls. All told, the weekend was a big success. We knocked down 18 does, 8 coyotes, probably about 6 pigs, a handful of quail since it was opening weekend for quail as well, and then also a bobcat. This is definitely a weekend where it reminds you about how unique South Texas is with the variety of game that you can harvest. The landscape, the wildlife, the camaraderie in camp, it was just a great weekend overall down South Texas. Definitely looking forward to the next trip, so stay tuned and hopefully we'll get some more hunts on camera. Until the next one, stay safe and shoot straight.